My name is Jennifer Morrow. I'm going to be glancing down as I have a printout of the prompts from this week's discussion. In regards to my experience with race, obviously I'm white, but when I was growing up in a very diverse suburb just north of Los Angeles, not far from CSUN. And I feel that growing up in that neighborhood, there was a large mixture of different ethnicities. So some of my closest friends were Mexican, Latino, Vietnamese, Black, and I went to all of their homes, Argentinian. I feel like I didn't really recognize race when I was younger because I just saw these people as friends and classmates and peers. The only thing that stood out to me, if anything, was cultural differences in food when I would go over to their homes and I would eat things that their parents cooked, which were different from things that my parents cooked, but it was all obviously very positive. But it wasn't race per se when I was younger. As far as conversations about race, honestly, we never really had anything like that when I was younger. Now that I'm older, and especially with the current climate that we're in, with the presidential administration, with just blatant racism that has always been there, but now has this presidential backing. There have been a lot more conversations that I've been having with friends, family, even coworkers, even though we kind of try to keep that to a minimum, about race. My brother and I have been discussing a lot about race. My children's father is Mexican. My kids are half Mexican. My brother's wife is Mexican, although they have not had kids. But obviously we've been talking about race with everything that's going on with ICE raids and things like that in our community. Since I have been taking college courses, I have recommended some things to my brother to read that I found very interesting that I would not have known about if it wasn't for my college classes. And that touches on the fact that we were not taught these things K through 12. So when I was in elementary school, we weren't taught about Black literature. We weren't told to read James Baldwin or anything like that. That all came later on in life, which is obviously a huge disservice to our kids in the education system, K through 12, because not everybody has the opportunity to go to college and go to university. In terms of school, I think that the dominantly white culture in the classroom, it's just about white people teaching white history the way that they want it to be told. So there's no honest conversations there about the massacres of Native American people. There's no honest conversation about Mexican repatriation, I think is how you say it. Again, another thing I didn't learn about until I got to college. So schools do a huge disservice in teaching history from a savior white viewpoint. Let's see, I think that in terms of work, so I work in a hospital and we have a huge focus on DEI. So even regardless of whatever the federal government is or isn't doing when it comes to that, when we're an academic institution, and so when we're recruiting and onboarding residents and fellows and even faculty, DEI is a large focus, and there are a lot of bullet points and guidelines that our HR and our hiring faculty go by to hopefully ensure that we have a large mixture, a diverse mixture of applicants who are getting their spot, getting a chance to interview and onboard with us. In terms of microaggressions, I honestly, I feel horrible saying this, but I don't really feel I've ever experienced any as a white woman. Now, as a woman, I've experienced microaggressions, but when we're talking about race, as a white person, I have not. Um, I feel that microaggression is a form of bullying. People know what they're doing, even if they want to blame it on something else, claim that it's a subconscious thing, or it's not something that they mean to do, or they don't mean to offend anyone. But essentially, at the end of the day, I think that expressing microaggressions towards other people, and this obviously especially towards certain groups of people, that is a form of bullying. In terms of microaggressions in the classroom, I think that race and those types of topics need to be more openly discussed for two reasons. For the people who are carrying out the microaggressions, so that they can't use the excuse, oh, I'm colorblind, I don't see race. No, because if you're colorblind, if you don't see race, if you see everyone as equal, then that means that you're racist, because you are not acknowledging the fact that other groups have been marginalized, have been punished, have had a harder time in life than you have. So I think that those open conversations about microaggressions, about race, need to happen in schools at a young age. And I think it needs to be highlighted so that it can be acknowledged and stopped, hopefully, at a young age. In terms of the videos that we were watching, I just want to say one of the videos, a conversation with my Black son, in terms of being pulled over by the police. My son has a darker complexion, he has dark hair, he has a Latino last name, and I'm not in any way comparing it to what young Black men are going through in the United States, and the fact that I feel like cops are openly hunting them down because they're not punished when they do kill Black Americans. But I had that conversation with my son as well, and I told him, unfortunately, cops, and this is perhaps not the best thing I should be telling my child as a parent, but I was being honest with him. I told him, cops are not here to serve and protect us. Most of the time, they're here because they have a power trip and they want to exert that power over someone else. Now, is that true for all of them? No, but I feel that's true for a lot of them. And so I had to have that conversation with my son and let him know, if you get pulled over, just remember that cops are trigger happy and they'll shoot first and they will ask questions later. And so I kind of had to have that same conversation with my son of, be respectful, keep your hands in view, make sure that the cop doesn't feel threatened. And that's not the way that it should be, but I was just being very honest with him. And that was especially around the Black Lives Matters movement and all of that, which has kind of died down, but the brutality is still there. So even if the movement has gotten a little bit more quiet, the cops haven't changed at the end of the day. I could say a lot more about the videos that I watched, but I'm already at 9 minutes. But they all resonated with me as a mother, as a member of society who sees injustice due to perceived race, due to perceived power. And I just feel that discussing race, discussing these topics is extremely important at every age, and it should not be only done at a college level. These discussions should be starting earlier in life, so that people feel comfortable talking about it, and so that people can't use the scapegoat of, oh, I don't see color, because that means that you're not seeing other human beings and the struggles that they've been through. It means that you're not acknowledging that someone else has had a harder time in life than you have. That's my perception of it. So I know I'm already at 10 minutes, but thank you very much. I fully acknowledge that this video is past the due date. I still want to be involved and part of the class, so even if I don't get any credit for it, I still wanted to turn something in for this particular module. So thank you so much for your time.